Hello and welcome. This is the first of many videos we're going to be doing, going into a more in-depth explanation in all things finance, economics, cryptocurrency, politics, where the world's going and everything in between, so you guys can have a better understanding of where the world is going and, more importantly, what you should be doing in the biggest transfer of wealth in human history, because that's what's coming. Now, you would have known me most likely from TikTok. And inside my TikTok videos, I tend to give small pieces of information. But for you guys that want more of information past that, this is the place to come. Now, it's going to be a lot of information on finance. It's going to be a lot of information for you to take in. It's going to be a lot of ways of you understanding what's going on in the world, why things are happening. And then you can start to connect dots together so you can make optimal financial decisions for yourself, because that's the end of the goal. And the goal of this channel is basically educate you, make you understand why the world works the way it does, particularly in regards to finance, and then so you can make optimal decisions with your money past that. So just so you understand this, none of this, just so you can understand, none of this is financial advice. I have many financial qualifications, but every person's financial circumstances are different. Okay, so you're going to need to understand that this is information and it gives you the opportunity to go and research more so that you guys can make better financial decisions with your money. So let's get into it. Now, the biggest video that we've come across on TikTok was about the petrodollar and why I believe it's the beginning of the end of the petrodollar. Now, let's not confuse things here, right? When I say it's the beginning of the end of the petrodollar, it doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, okay? And what I also need you to understand is it doesn't mean it's the end of the United States, the US dollar, being the reserve currency, okay? It's just the format that it is in at this current point in time. I believe the world is moving away from that format for a number of reasons, which we're going to talk about today. So that you guys need to understand that, okay, why first are we moving away from that format, the history behind how we got to that format, and then where potentially are we moving forward in the future? What is the format going to be? So what we're going to do is we're going to go start from where we started in regards to the TikTok videos. We talked about how the Bretton Woods Agreement was in place. So if you go back to 1944, we'll just get something up here on the screen. You can see the Bretton Woods Agreement system created a collective international currency exchange regime that lasted from the mid-1940s to the early 1970s. The Bretton Woods system required a currency pegged to the US dollar, which in turn pegged to the price of gold. Now, that was all fine and dandy, but in that period of time, what happened essentially is the US dollar at the start of the Bretton Woods Agreement had a larger supply of gold, and slowly but surely that reduced down. Now, when Richard Nixon in 1971 decided to get rid of the gold standard, we'll take you some information here about that. Here we are, an ultimate demise. Back in the 1970s, in the wake of the oil crisis, President Nixon devised a plan. He offered to help Saudi Arabia defend itself in exchange for the kingdom to trade all of its oil production in US dollars. As a result, anyone looking to buy oil from the Saudis had to do so paying in US dollars. This was a strategic stroke of genius that has helped cement the dollar as the world's premier reserve currency ever since. Now, what does that mean, and what is the domino effect of what's happened because of that? Now, because of that occurrence and that strategic move that Nixon played, it basically gave the United States control of the financial system for the last 50 years. And any time there's been any sort of disruption, I give the example of the financial crisis 2007, 8, 9, they've had the ability to just go and print more money to keep their economy afloat. But the problem is when we print more money, what happens is inflation. And inflation essentially means the money that we've got the money that we have is being slowly eroded over time. I think we pretty much all understand that concept now. Now, why have we come to this position now of where we think that it's the beginning of the end of the petrodollar is all of that money that's been printed, and particularly in the last 2 years with COVID, we've come to this position now where, well, hang on, we've had all this money printed, and the US has to pay back the interest, at least, on all the debt that it's taken on. Okay? The way they solved that problem previously, prior to 2007, 2008, is raise interest rates and then counteract inflation. That's a method used to counteract inflation. Okay, great. They don't have that option anymore, and they've printed so much money, they have all this debt. If they were to raise interest rates, they're going to struggle to keep up with the payments, or it means the government spending is going to have to go elsewhere anywhere. So the quality of the average American would reduce. Okay, so we can't do that anymore. So what we're seeing is this more and more move away from the petrodollar, the petrol system. You see now the interest towards electric vehicles and not using oil as much. So the US doesn't want its economy to be so evolved around oil, but they still want to keep the US dollar as obviously the reserve currency, because by having it as the reserve currency, they have a larger control of the financial system, and with it a larger control of the money flow, and with it a hell of a lot of power. So we're in this period of time where, okay, the petrodollar is that point where it may be coming away from the petrodollar for a number of reasons, and that reliant on oil is no longer there. It's more a case of, okay, so what now is it going to be, and how can the US maintain its position of power with itself as the reserve currency? And this is where I believe cryptocurrency enters the room. Now, the United States as a whole is a technological powerhouse. You know, it really is, and the technology that's being built out of the United States, largely a majority of the cryptocurrencies are based out of the US, and you can already see what they're putting in place to be able to utilize the cryptocurrencies for the US to utilize inside their financial system. Now, this is where you look at ISO 20022, which is basically a set of protocols already put in place to set out the structure for the new quantum financial system. Well, so the US is already setting out the forthcoming financial system. The question is, how are they going to keep themselves in control of the financial system by keeping the US dollar the reserve currency? And I think that's really what we've now got to sort of look at over the forthcoming weeks and months, which you guys will be obviously viewing my videos, and I'll be giving you all this kind of information and updates, so on and so forth. Is, okay, so we understand the world is moving away from oil, or at least in some concept, in some structure. We understand the world is moving in some structure towards cryptocurrency. But how does that all play out? And more importantly for you guys is, okay, where can you maximize your return and your livelihood from a financial perspective by understanding where your money potentially might want to go at this point in this transfer of wealth and potential transfer and structure of the reserve currency moving forward? So I think we're going to pay a lot of attention on the channel towards cryptocurrencies, where it's going to fit into the financial system, and how that reserve currency is going to change over a period of time. So thanks for watching the first video. If you have any questions or anything you want to know, pop them in the comments. Please, obviously, this is kind of the start of this channel where I can give more in-depth information to you guys. Please subscribe, give us a big like, and I look forward to the next video. Hope this helps.